Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Invasion Nation Morning Show. Brought to you by yours truly, Redneck, also sponsored in part by Mill Pond Salon. And down in out there in New London, also Romaine Berg in Minneapolis. And a shout out to the people that keep me going. KJ's Quick Stop at Candy Ojai and Iams Garage. And yeah, good morning. Look at there, we got a room full already this morning. Good morning, Jerry. Chad, good morning. Don, good morning. Penny LaRue, good morning. Farmer Trucker, Angel. Chris, good morning. Lene, good morning. Shelly Bean, good morning. Boss Lady, Rich Daly, good morning. USMC, good to see you. And Jody, good morning. Vapor, good morning. Yeah. Also, don't forget to check us out on our other social media platforms. On Facebook and Snapchat and all those other things, and Instagram and tweeters, and yeah. Also, don't forget to get your Redneck Invasion gear at redneckinvasion.org. So, I did a live video. Did a live feed video last night or yesterday of Wisconsin and how bad it really was. I think it was severely underplayed by the news as far as their little minute and 30 skits or minute and 50 skits. You know, it didn't cover it nowhere near enough. And oh, excuse me. And actually what's going on out there. And found out today that it was or this morning that it was a confirmed tornado out there. I was told up to yesterday it was straight line winds. So uh yeah. Anyways, Krippner, good morning, good to see you. Lothar, good morning, good to see you. Yeah, that was so if you want to see some of it, I pulled into a farm that was for sale. And showed you guys the roof torn completely off a barn, trees uprooted in the yard. There's parts of yes, good morning lurkers as well. There's also you can see in areas where the power lines were still laying on the ground. One area, I mean, it was just like down in the valleys, there was nothing left. It looked like somebody just threw a big giant skill saw blade right through there and just knocked all the tops off the trees. It's absolutely insane. So, Jay Holland, good morning. So, yeah, just keep those people in your thoughts and prayers out there. Yeah. So, what is it? It's Tuesday today. Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. That's what. So, as you guys can see, the goal's been met. Um, I don't know what Redneck Tech is doing. He says he lurks every morning, but we'll see. We did try to call the Mill Pond Salon yesterday to set up an appointment. Paulina was not in, but I got no, so we'll see if I get a call back. Creative Day Crochet. Yes, I'm getting waxed. I'm going to be one miserable SOB. Yeah, I wish I was doing a trip to Sweden. Actually, I got offered. This is where the complex comes in because I got offered to go to a fishing trip in Montana, but I have to go to TwitchCon. Which one do you think I really want to do? Just saying. TwitchCon will be good though. I'm looking forward to it. I do want to go there because I get to meet people like I'll get to meet 30. I'll get to meet a few other people out there. I did see that they let the old Dr. Disrespect back on the Twitch though. Clinton, good morning. Good to see you. Remember the whiskey, it'll kill the pain. Yeah, I would definitely, but we'll get there one of these days. Yeah. J. Joe, good morning. Good to see you. But it definitely would have been. I've had to pass up a couple of. Dr. Disrespect for his first IRL stream, which is what I do, is an IRL stream. He his camera guy followed him into a bathroom and caught a minor in the bathroom, which is a big no-no. And they were in California, which is a two-party consent state. So definitely a big no-no. And I don't know. Apparently he's back on, so I just noticed that. 2 or 3 hours today, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. Trans Am, good morning. So, one of the other things that I've I made a video yesterday in response to some of my critics, which is fine. I mean, I need people to understand that, I don't go out looking for stories. I'm not news. The same news is out there, the same stuff is out there. It's like, okay, now you need to vote with the information that you have. Now it's on you guys to put pressure. Me putting pressure there is, it's like one big thumb that pushes down on something, but it works a lot better when you put the other five fingers in there. So what that takes is that takes other people. That takes other people to start doing stuff too, and that's what I encourage everybody to do. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to do that? Well, it's called voting. It's called sending email complaints, voicing your complaints to local representatives. So we'll see what happens. Mm. World. Yeah. So, all right. Now I think I got everything caught up. Sorry. I'm trying to keep everybody caught up here. I've got yeah, just so you guys see, if you can see that, that is literally all the Snapchat notifications still coming in. It's been a public forum, but I don't know that I really do definitely need to keep up with it better. What in the hell? Oh, there you go. Beer run. This is legitimately the stuff people send me, which is really cool. Ugh. But, alright. Thought they'd send me some more cool stuff, but yeah, that's definitely a long box. So, after a long debate on things, I have some trucks that I have to get rid of. I have, I've been talking over some people, and I love my 03. I think I'm going to stick with my 03 for quite a while. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. Of course, guys want to ruin the sentiment of it, and it'll be like, oh, look, another Ford or another Chevy getting towed or whatever, or the pulling power of whatever. And it's like, get the hell out of here, man. That's one way to make a kid feel cool. Especially if you're used to hauling like big mud trucks. I got a buddy of mine that does that. When his kids were real small, he used to strap the kids' stuff down on the trailer. So, and he'd load up the big fifth wheel trailer to haul their stuff out, their electric power wheels over to their moms. So they thought that was the neatest thing ever, and that'll be something they remember the rest of their lives. But and the things that we go out of our way to go and make memories for kids are just like, I mean, the things that we'll go out and do, and I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's something that he did pretty regularly for a while. So the kids would be like, Dad, you gonna load up my mud truck this weekend? Oh yeah, we'll get yours loaded up. And he had a 1-ton dually. He could have just as easily thrown him in the back, but the kids thought it was the neatest thing in the world when Dad would load him up on the mud truck trailer. So, like dump dinners with the girls, absolutely. Uh, and
I think I'm in a 49 Merc, just kind of a really small one. Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, this week we're in Maricopa, Arizona at Ernie Adams' Dwarf Car Museum. This is a pretty amazing place, and Ernie is a pretty amazing guy. He built his first dwarf car back in 1965 out of something like 9 refrigerators, and built more since then than he could probably even tell you. But about 25 years ago, he started building street-legal dwarf cars.
Have a good day, guys.
These things are really incredible, not to mention really cool. Let's get around and check these things out. Ernie, it is great to meet you finally.
Well, it's nice meeting you.
Man, I've heard about you, actually from your buddy Gene Tweedy, who I met at the Old Mary's car show in Ottawa, Kansas, and he had his '54 Chevy dwarf. I'd never even heard of a dwarf car before, and I went, man, this thing's so cool. And he goes, oh well, yeah, but the real dwarf car guy is Ernie Adams out in Arizona. He's the guy. And so I started looking into In fact, you are the guy. You are the dwarf car guy. So you did your
That is
first
crazy.
dwarf car back in 1965.
Yes, 1965. And so I built that out of 9 refrigerators.
You know, and when you look at that car, I mean,
Did
I
you hear
think
that?
it
He
looks
built
great,
that out of
but when
9
you look at it
refrigerators.
and you told me that, then I can start to see the refrigerators.
Yeah.
You know, because in fact, the back curve is the
That
refrigerator,
is the top
right?
of the refrigerator.
Then you started doing actually dwarf race cars, right?
Yeah, that's where the dwarf race cars got their start, off of that car. The wheelbase and everything came off of that refrigerator car.
But then you really stepped it up, and you made just some beautiful cars.
Isn't it
I mean,
neat?
This 49 Merc, chop Merc no less.
No,
But it's not chopped. I guess it just looks chopped because it's so little, right?
Yeah, when you shrink the bottom is so big on them Mercuries, but when you shrink them down, the window shows it more than the bulk of the body does.
Now, these aren't refrigerators, are they?
No, this was all new metal on here.
And that's the other thing. I mean, you don't start with a regular car and take pieces out and all this. Everything here you've created.
The body and the frame and the suspension is all homemade right here in my shop.
So you're just starting with flat steel.
Yeah.
You got an English wheel?
Yeah, I got a homemade English wheel. I got 2 homemade bead rollers, one to put the body prints in and one to put to make the stainless with.
Actually, this little shed we're standing in front of was the original shop.
That was where the dwarf cars all started, right
Like
there.
under that awning.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
there
didn't
wasn't
have
room
to-
inside.
Yeah, I didn't. That's only 9 by 13.
Even when it comes to the interior, you do everything inside the car too, right?
Yes, the dash in this car was built from a refrigerator door. Now the chrome trim here is all made out of conduit.
Formed and then you have it chromed.
Yeah, and we make all the knobs and everything on a lathe.
Now, you got a little red button there. What's that?
This little button is a flamethrower.
This thing is a flamethrower too.
Yes,
So unburnt fuel travels back, woof, and then
Yeah.
she's back up front.
yes.
The doors are surprisingly heavy too. And they
This
close
thing's got flamethrower exhaust.
so nice.
Yeah.
Your fit and finish is better than a lot of new cars. How about your back glass? There's a little curve to that.
The curved glass is cut out of a '66 Chevy pickup windshield. This was out of an old railroad truck, so it was kind of messed up when I made it.
To begin with, right? How about
Yeah.
your tail light bezels? You make those
The
too?
taillights is all homemade. It's got a '50 Chevy lens.
Oh, okay. And the running gear that you use on all your dwarf cars is all Toyota, isn't it? So real reliable, real easy to service.
But the rest of it is all homemade, the suspension and everything. We use the Toyota springs. We just cut them and recoil them, use the Toyota bushings and everything.
Can we look at the engine?
Yeah.
How about the spots? Do they need to move?
Nope.
Oh, really?
They're okay.
Oh, you really got it figured out. Well, by golly, that's a Toyota engine.
That's a 4KC Toyota engine, 1290
That is
cc. I
neat.
don't know
Morning,
really
Gus.
what the horsepower is on it.
But plenty for this.
Yeah, plenty for
Plenty
these
enough for
cars, yeah. These cars weigh about 1,800 pounds. That's
Really?
about 1,000 pounds less than the real car, the real Toyota.
These are all licensed, they all run,
Wow.
and you can take them out on the streets. Can we take it out for a drive?
All right, farmer
And I've never
trucker.
driven a dwarf car. Could I drive this
Well,
thing?
it just drives just like a 49 Mercury.
Just a little, huh?
Yeah.
Close her up. Let's do this thing.
Okay.
You know, you don't realize how little these are. Come up alongside a Ram pickup, it looks like a Mack truck.
Yeah.
That is really neat.
Well, you got to be the most popular guy at any show you go to.
I do pretty good.
I guess what strikes me is how well this drives. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like a family car. Shifts so smoothly, but then it's a Toyota transmission.
It's all matching.
So it was built to work together. And this thing's got to get close to, what, 30 miles a gallon or something like that?
31.
31 miles to the gallon.
You know, you could drive this thing for a long distance.
Brody
it's pretty
needs. That's
comfortable.
beyond.
Yeah.
I don't think Brody's wet. Brody's
When'd you
ready
start
for that
building?
yet.
Just a kid?
That's a legitimate
Oh,
car
I
drive
drove
light in
wooden
there.
cars when I was a kid.
Did you ever put a motor on any of them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My mother bought our home place in 1940.
That's really cool. I don't want to tie up the whole show with that, but that's really cool. Check out Dwarf Cars on YouTube if you want to see more of them. Definitely neat. Uh, and that's really what it is just taking the time to get out there and do something. Oh, and I need to do that. So speaking of cars, if anybody wants, good morning, Ruger wife. Good to see you. I think I'm gonna sell the turd. I love that truck, but it's a truck. And honestly, it's been sitting for a year. I have not touched it, and it has to go away. Um, I've got another 1 ton that is identical to it, that has a plow that's more functional for me. Uh, a dwarf 1970 or dwarf 72 Chevelle. That would be really neat to create. That would actually be really neat to create. So, son keeps asking if I got waxed. Oh, you'll know when I get waxed. It'll be screams heard internet wide. Checked out more Jericho Green videos last night. Yeah, he's got some interesting stuff to say. He's him like a lot of other I've been finding all over the internet, him like a lot of other African American people are tired of lies being told to them by Democrats for years. You know, I don't want a dwarf hog. I want the real deal. Still want a 454 in it though. I mean, why stop at a 454? What are they up to now? 572 or 602 or something like that? I forgot what GM's biggest crate motor is. Yeah, they got the 572, 621 horsepower. So, I mean, why stop at a 454 when you can get a 572? Just saying. I mean, it's only $16,000 for the motor. Just saying. uh, yeah, it's I don't know if you guys seen these speech. Donald Trump did he did a news conference, a press conference with the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and they're working on trade deals. They're working on doing some stuff with Afghanistan. They have asked President Trump to be the mediator. For all the bad press that guy gets in the United States, he's getting asked to do a lot of stuff. He called Puerto Rico out for taking what was it, 91 or 92 billion dollars of U.S. money and just pissing it away, stealing it, not putting Helmer. What's happening? Good morning. He basically put everybody on blast. He was not playing around in this press conference. And I forgot it. I didn't see who it was that he called out, but I'm pretty sure it was a lady from CNN, and he's like, she actually asked a question other than the Mueller report or something like that on the Mueller testimony. He's like, hold on, I got to answer this question because she's always asking about that. So now we're finally onto something different. So let me talk to her. Yeah, it's he's got a lot of stuff in the works that he's doing. And one of the biggest things that he points out is he said, we're not just going to have the appearance of you know, the baddest country in the world. We are going to be the biggest and baddest country in the world, plain and simple. You know, they're building a new aircraft carrier, which is supposed to be the largest ship in the world. Thank you. Uh, they're building new submarines. He's on a mission. Uh, and one of the things he set out, people asked him about Iran, and he said, "Well, here's the deal." He said, "Regardless of whether I would have pulled this out last year, the Iran deal is almost up," and he said it's a really, really shitty deal. He said, "No matter what," he said, Iran is having a ton of issues. Now they've attacked one or two British ships, I guess. Raided one or two British ships. So, Iran took Swedish-owned tanker hostage. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Justin, good morning. Good to see you. And here's the thing. I didn't know this, but I guess from what I understand, Iran's economy is not doing so hot. Iran's economy is having a tough go of it. Jerry, good morning. Good to see you. And they've got a few things. They got a few issues going on out there. They've got some stuff going on in Iran that just aren't copacetic, that aren't flying. Iran is not. I don't want people to get the idea that Iran is like some third world Middle East country. They are very technologically advanced. They are very, they're not, they're very smart people over there. Like a lot of countries, though, you get somebody in power or a group of people in power, and their motives are completely wrong, and it really stunts a country. It really stunts its growth. It stunts what it's doing. And like Donald Trump said, he said, he says, you don't make them kind of deals for a couple of years. He says, you make them kind of deals the last 50 to 100 years. So, right now over in Pakistan and Iran, you know, they're working with the new leaders of the Taliban in negotiations to you know get things settled. To get things settled, the terrorist cells, as you guys know, years ago, the terrorist cells of the Taliban, you know, are being taken care of. But what people don't understand is we created the Taliban. We created them. Okay? And people are like, what? What? No, we didn't. Yes, we did. When back at the time of the Cold War, we did create the Taliban to help us out with border protection and so forth, with worrying about Russians come through. It's been 19 years, actually. 19 years we've been over in Afghanistan. And that is it. Donald Trump's actually pulling people out. Lolly just had a friend of hers' family. They just had one of their family members come home from Afghanistan. They're working out, and they're working out and working with both of these countries. They're going to sit down and start. We might actually have real peace in the Middle East for once. And all the countries over there have asked Donald Trump to mediate. They've asked him to mediate. By the way, it wasn't that he inserted himself. They asked him to mediate, to be the voice of reason between the countries. Michael, I don't disagree with you one bit. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I mean, a lot of people know that the the largest majority. It's in the 90 percentile range, or even it's either like 87 or 92% of the heroin that comes into America comes over the southern border. But where does it come from? And the other thing is the war is 100% engineered to drive up defense stocks. I mean, we can look at however we want to look at it, but I don't care as long as we're pumping money into our military. Uh, for 8 years, uh, for 8 years, we really ran our military down to bare bones, because that's where they were pulling money from. There should be no reason why we were spending more money on our prison budget than we were our defense budget. No reason. The military is a death cult for the poor. I don't agree with you on that. I don't agree with you on that at all. I think you're absolutely wrong, and you have no basis to say that other than some conspiracy that you have worked up in your head. No, I will not do that. I come from a military family. My son currently serves. Both my brothers were in the service. A lot of my family has been in the service. That is absolutely ignorant to say that. That is absolutely asinine to say that. That's stupid. What are you going to do? You know what happens if we have no military? We have the richest resource country in the world. We have the richest resource country in the world. What happens if we have no military to protect us? Explain that to me. What happens? No, we're going to get attacked. Are you nuts? Other countries are going to come over here and other countries are going to come over here and take what they want. I would never deter a young person from joining the military ever. But Michael, what you're not explaining to me then is you talk about this going on in the Middle East, and why are Middle Eastern countries asking Donald Trump to mediate, Donald Trump the president to mediate and help work out peace deals amongst their countries? Donald Trump's been pulling troops out. He's been pulling troops out of there by the thousands. But the thing is to discourage people from joining the military is absolutely asinine. Everybody wants to think that Donald Trump is war hungry, but he's doing everything in his power not to go to war. I mean, let's think about it. With the stuff that Iran's doing, most people are already pulled the trigger. And I no, Is there some stuff that we've been involved in that we shouldn't have? Yes. Let's not forget the fact that in Afghanistan and our 19 years ago when we went into a 18 years ago, it was 18 years ago, almost 19 years ago, when we went into those countries, why did we go over there? Well, why did we go over there? I mean, you know, what was the reason that we went to the Middle East in the first place? I don't care what the fishy events are. I know thousands of Americans lost their lives that day. I know my home came under attack that day. Donald Trump simply said this: I'm not going to do. If people really want free health care and education, the Army is hiring. It'll change their lives for the better. Absolutely wax on, hair off. You hit it right on the head. You are 100% correct in that. It's not a matter of hating. Okay, one of the biggest things that you don't understand about America has this issue with thinking that once we've gone through and we've had war with a country, that we have to rebuild it. Donald Trump said it in his press conference. He says, we're doing nothing but being police officers over there. He says, these are military soldiers. They're not there to be police officers. And that's what we've been doing over there is we've been policing. So with the policing factor, on all this, you know, as according to what the president says, you know, it's just time to be done, and he's making that happen. But to sit and say that we don't need our military and to tell young people not to join, you know, remember this. You know, the whole thing is um you've got to remember a couple of things, okay? You well, why wouldn't you, Michael? That's part of being a what part of that? Okay, okay. In order to be the strongest superpower in the world, part of that is controlling the world's economy, making sure that you have direct access to the world's resources. This is called strategy. Donald Trump is about making America money. So, uh, what part of war? This is a thing I don't understand. When did war become humanitarian? That's what I don't understand. Donald Trump said very easily. He said, in Afghanistan, he says I could win a war in Afghanistan in 7 to 10 days. He said millions of people would lose their lives. I can win that war. But he said, what's the point? What's the point? We've occupied that area for close to 19 years. What's the point? But to sit and disrespect our military, understand this. Soldiers are commanded. Soldiers follow orders. They're told to do what they do. You don't ask questions. You just do what you're asked to do, plain and simple. And then they have to have the fear of that somebody like you would come in and say, "Oh my God, you should be guilty of a war crime," because they followed orders. But understand that their orders come from much higher than they are. Even the leaders in the military, their orders come from much higher than they are. And truthfully, I don't agree with you. I mean, I think you spend too much time watching. I think you spend too much time watching conspiracy theories. I think you whatever it is, wherever you've gotten your information, your sourced information from, isn't right. Uh, you can believe what you want to believe, but I'm telling you, our military is very essential to what we do. We went to the Middle East in a conflict of what had happened because of 9/11. We went over there chasing the Taliban, and then later had a group called ISIS develop. But because we fight humanitarian warfare, now, like Donald Trump said, America's got no problem ending a war in 7 to 10 days. We can just go over there and wipe them off the face of the earth. Places like Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these other countries, there would be nothing left of them. If America unleashed what it has for military power, but no, they tried to do things in a humanitarian respect. Let's not forget the fact that the Middle East is probably one of the most uh, war stricken areas amongst themselves to begin with. Let's not forget the fact that let's not forget the fact that they're always fighting amongst themselves. There's constant conflict over there amongst themselves. based on religious beliefs or sex of religious beliefs, or who, somebody raises up. So I mean, the thing is it's beyond that. But to come in here and based on your original comment that we should be deterring young people from entering the military, this has probably got to be one of the most ignorant statements I've ever seen posted on here. And the reason I say that is because what are you going to do? What's going to happen when we need protection? If we cut the military off today, how long do you think we're going to be safe? How long do you think this country is going to be safe if we cut the military off today? Yeah, I'm waiting for an answer for my question, but how long do you honestly think that we're going to be safe? It's a security theater. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't feel safe for long. I promise you that. I mean, it's real easy to say that, but you don't have a clue of half the stuff. Wolfram, welcome to the stream, brother. Good to see you. You don't have half a clue what it is, because I mean, you want to talk about. I mean, why stop there? Why don't we just throw the country into complete anarchy, self rule? Why don't we get rid of our police departments, our fire departments? Let's get rid of our EMTs. Let's do that. Let's just get rid of all that. Let's get rid of all public service forms of frontline services. Let's just get rid of all that. And let's just have a people regulated government. I mean, let's just do that. Let's just eliminate everything and see what happens. I'm not worried about myself in an anarchy situation. I'm not worried about a lot of people who follow me in an anarchy situation. But I can promise you production in this country and the things that go on in this country would cease as we know it. You would have every other country here with any type of military force trying to come over and rule and dictate this land in a heartbeat. We are protected by a constitution, and that's what makes us who we are. Yeah, let's get rid of everybody. We're gonna get rid of the fire departments, the police departments. We're gonna get rid of the military. They all walk in the same perspective. So we're gonna get rid of them. We're gonna get rid of EMTs. We'll get rid of all those guys. What do you mean barely keep Afghan and Iraq under control? They're over there policing. They're not over there in a military capacity. They're over there as basically as law enforcement officials. If we eliminated our country as a whole, you think Vladimir Putin would stop at nothing to come over here and control this with all the resources that they know that we have? Yeah, I bet you our no military wouldn't last but a couple of days. So yeah. All right, guys, we're up on a coffee break. We're gonna take it. We'll be back here shortly. And I will see you in a minute.
Some call me a sinner for the things I've done. Born with a heart of stone, fast with a gun. I'm here to get mine, then I'll leave this town. If you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame. standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Invasion Nation Morning Show, brought to you by yours truly, Redneck Invasion, sponsored in part by Mill Pond Salon in the scenic downtown New London. As you guys seen yesterday, she took care of the green hair extensions for Little Miss Airhorns. She's done a lot of stuff. I mean, she puts up with our shenanigans, so why not? And then also, check out Romaine Burger if you have a business. You know, they're a sponsor of ours. They're a great guy. If you guys have a business, you owe it to yourself to see what they can do for you. You know, these guys are absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. And also, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that.
Making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, hiding them hollers.
Yeah, so we appreciate Romaine Berg. And yeah. All right, boss lady, thank you.
Making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, hiding them hollers.
We tried calling Mill Pond Salon yesterday towards the end of the show to see if we could make an appointment, but Paulina was not available. So, yeah. Also, big shout out to KJ's Quick Stop at Iams Garage. Again, Iams Garage comes through clutch. Not that I needed the news, but I'm glad they found it. I had a ball joint completely coming apart in my truck. I thought the banging and clanking was the front shocks in there because it's exactly what it sounded like, and I just had him check it out. Thank you, Krippner. I appreciate it.
We're making them dirt road dollars, way out yonder, having them holler.
And yeah, come to find out, I needed a new ball joint and upper control arm, so it was great. But, you know, then again, I realized the fact that my truck was not meant to be running the way I run it. So, you know, as we replace parts, we put in better parts that are better suited to do what I'm doing. So, look at this tech guy. Screw those guys. All right, Bubba. Waxy.
Waxy.
Fuckers.
We're making them dirt road dollars, way out yonder, having them holler.
Yeah, waxy. All right. It looks like Vapor had enough of Michael. That's all right. I don't know. Ignorance is bliss, I guess, sometimes. You know, there's some people that just sit around and they hear some kind of conspiracy theory and they just run with it. Oh my God, I heard this guy on the internet one time. Or I've seen this thing on the History Channel. I know people would like to believe that the History Channel is historically accurate, but it's not. They teach a lot of theories and things like that on the History Channel. That happens quite a bit. So, oh yeah, I'm actually dropping some serious framage. Ancient aliens, need I say more? My theory behind aliens is why, if they're intelligent life form, why are they always going to trailer parks picking on the lady in the moo-moo? So, yeah, you know, and it's like this. It's like, you know, one of the I think that there's some things that have been done in history that we will never, you know, that we will never know exactly how they were done. You know, it's like this. There's been many theories as opposed to what is that? Oh, Twitch has got issues going on right now. Well, it doesn't seem to be too bad. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of sections there where it's catching some lag. Okay. Okay, I got it. But everybody's online and running, just got a little bit of a lag going on. Yeah, I think that's one of the ones Tech goes to check out, so he usually keeps up on all that shit. Oh, but anyways, press conference held by Donald Trump, absolutely phenomenal. So, took you 30 minutes to get in. I mean, we dropped frames for a little bit, but I mean, it's stopped. We're up and running full throttle again. So it was just some lag in the system. But yeah, I don't know. There's something to be said for people like Michael. There's something honestly to be said for him. There's this has been something that's been going on even since I was a kid. I remember there was a parent, and I mean literally this lady was way off her rocker, who was adamantly fighting the school that the school should not allow recruiters to come in there on career day, because they basically had like a job fair for high schoolers that would come into the school there, and they would let you know what they're looking for, if they're looking for college, if they're looking for people right out of high school, things like that. Of course, all the military branches are there, and that kind of stuff. And uh there was a lady there that she was hollering at the principal, "You should be ashamed. You shouldn't be sending our kids off to war," and da 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 da. And the principal's like, "Listen, they can't go until they're 18. They're adults. It's their choice. Even to sign up now, they have to have their parents' signature. That's not your job to regulate them. That's the teacher. That's them and their parents' decision to make, not yours." And the lady just, and I felt bad for her kid. I felt bad for her kid 100%, because her kid, he was a good dude, absolutely stellar dude, and ended up going to the Army National Guard. So yeah, and then later became law enforcement. I asked him a while back. I said, "Whatever happened with the whole deal with your mom?" He says, "Well, let's just say that family holidays aren't exactly fun, but we still go out of respect and things like that. She just can't never let it be." And nobody ever found out what her deal was. So yeah, there's been numerous kids. There's been numerous people who tell you over and over and over again that going to the military was the best thing that ever happened to them. They learn discipline. They learn to handle and take orders. They learn to think in intensive situations, and be motivated to take care of the little things in their life, so that way the bigger things in life aren't so bad. Just in a life perspective, I've got a buddy of mine that was just a complete fuck up. I mean, no lie, complete fuck up, and joins the Army, goes full time into the Army, and well, he's doing good now. Hell, he's been working. Jody, I did join. I was administratively discharged for beating up a child molester. So free food, clothing, gun, and a gun, room to sleep. And here's the thing: there's some training in the military that is obsolete for civilian life, but the overall structure of military is good for kids, and it's good for young adults to learn. Uh, yeah, our boy's doing good. He's doing damn good. He's out working. He got away from the people that were dragging him down a lot. Got away from a piss poor crowd. He's doing good now. got a job that he loves doing. So, mm-hmm. Ugh. That's not cool. I'm trying to get these people out of my way. Oh. Oh, yeah. That's great. Thank you, Gus. I appreciate that.
Making them dirt road dollars, way out yonder, having them holler.
No, I have a lengthy part of the process I have to go through now. I'm waiting to hear any response back from the CEO, which I doubt I will. So we'll see what happens. I just remember my cousin Seth is an army brain fart. Judge, go to jail or join the military. Yeah, they used to have that for a long time. It used to be called alternative sentencing. You had three different options. You could either go uh, into basically a sanctuary school, which would be for religion, um, or you could go to the military, or you go to prison. But they don't use that so much anymore. Yeah, so I'm waiting to hear back, and then from there it's just going to start being legal repercussions. They have not reached out to talk to me at all, so gotta go. All right, Penny. Yeah, we're dropping frames pretty bad now again. I'm like I said, I'm for Bolt and Mink. I'm waiting to hear back from the yeah, we've got some serious lag going on. So you guys can see this, what I'm looking at. So, yeah. And I don't know, it may result in nothing, but I know this much. I'm not going to ask the people in my community to pay for their fuck ups. Well, it looks like the lag just disappeared again. But anyways, yeah, when it starts buffering, guys, it's something on Twitch's end. It's not on mine. You can actually see the it's The problem is when you've got a multi-million-dollar company who just doesn't want to make things right, and they take advantage of a community that's only 500 people, and the community doesn't have the money to go after them. It's a really sad state of affairs. It's absolutely, yeah. It kicks in and out. Uh, none of the errors have hit a 5 minute shot. They're lasting on average maybe 60 seconds to a minute and a half. And it's not dropping us all the way out. It's not kicking us all the way up there. So, and we're going to start lagging again. Just watch the entire graph drop. And this is the I don't like that bar up there. I don't like that bar. Well, the reason they can sleep at night, Gus, is because they sit there and tell themselves that they did their job and they did nothing wrong. But yet, all the pavement around here that their engineering design. Oh yeah, there we go. There you go. Now you can see right here. See how that's yellow? It tells you that it's lagging. So, no, I don't want to think about it. Bookmark this page. Boom. Done. Ingest servers. All the servers are still running. All the servers are running worldwide, so all our US servers are up and running. But you're welcome, sir. And it's ATech. Just in case you want to write it down, it's twitchstatus.com is where you find it. But yeah, it's nice to know it's not on my end this time. Boss lady says Redneck Tech support your next to get waxed. I don't think he's gonna go for it, y'all. He said the beard was bad enough. Now we got some lagging going again. I don't think he'll do it. Yeah, man. Eventually, the goal would be to get a studio set up, and that way I can actually have tech in house with me. Him and I be in house together, and have the fancy little buttons on the cameras and doing that stuff. Where you can switch back and forth and do some stuff, and be able to bring some guests on. I'm gonna go out and make a video hopefully this weekend. Something that I gotta get done and Paulina won't be happy about that. It's bad enough for him to lose his beard. Although he did answer to the challenge. But, so, I've been running my Snapchat, and I was going to talk to you guys about this. I've been running my Snapchat as kind of a community forum, but at the same point in time, there's like 9 other pages that do the exact same thing. And I'm kind of feeling like I should go back to doing it the way I was. Oh, look at there. Well, it looks like I'm going to be getting off of here in about 30 minutes. Because it looks like our boy is going to be testifying. So, this weekend I'm going to go out and check out on the 48. I'm going to find out what's going on with that. I've been invited to do a couple of car shows. I was going to do one. I was going to do the Rusty Eyeball this year, but the truck wasn't ready. So I'm going to take the time. I want to be ready to run Howie's. It's a 25th anniversary run. To court. What are we doing? Court for what? What, for Bolt and me? Oh yeah, I'm going to court. Oh no. Isn't Mueller supposed to testify? Or no, somebody Fox News said somebody was. I just got a Rye is going to testify in about 30 minutes, or however you pronounce his name. Wray is about to testify in front of the Senate committee. And I think currently William Barr's up there, but he's giving the speech.
Computers, devices, and networks. As the federal government, we welcome.
You know, yeah, no, I think Mueller's testifying tomorrow. But like Donald Trump, and here's the thing. You've got Democrats standing on the podium saying, "We just want to hear Mueller read the report." Why are you wasting taxpayers' money? Thank you, Jody.
Making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, having them holler.
Here's the thing. This is what I don't understand. You go on there and say, "We just want to hear Mueller read the report." What the fuck is the point? We've already wasted over $40 million. On an investigation that turned up nothing. I mean, yeah, you got some people put in prison, but it wasn't the objective that you were going for. How much more money do we have to waste on this? And then you've got the squad out there. Alon Omar came back to Minnesota, and she's doing nothing but spreading racist rhetoric throughout the state. Coming from a person who has written Israel completely off the map, coming from a person who's done nothing but criticize this country from the day she got in office, and it's like, and she has a 9% approval rating. They have this thing, I was talking about it yesterday. They have the Black Business Week going on in Minneapolis right now. And the part that irritates me about this whole thing is they say, well, you know, they were slaves, in this country. There was more than just African Americans who were slaves in this country. You currently have kids who are enslaved in this country being used as sex toys by perverts. And nothing's being done for that. Thank you, Jerry.
We're making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, having them holler.
And the Democrats are doing exactly what they want. It's creating, when you continually make white people feel bad for something they had nothing to do with. You continually make white people feel bad for something that they had nothing to do with. Okay, if they say anything about it, now I'm going to be called a racist because I said something about it. I'm going to say something about it, because it's like, okay, if we had a white business week, well, that's racist. If we had an all-white college, that would be racist. And I don't understand that. I don't get that. I don't understand that. Nobody has yet to explain that to me. And I have yet to have anybody explain that to me, why that's proper, why that's okay, why that's politically correct. Immigrants coming off the boat at the time of the Civil War, what happened to them? Anyone who could carry a gun was forced to go to war, or they were going to put up back on a boat. I mean, that's government slavery. That's involuntary servitude, which was exactly what they were fighting against. Thank you.
We're making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, having them holler.
And if you didn't have money to buy your way out of it, you were going to fight a war that you had nothing to do with. This was the procedure for 2 years. Maybe it was 3 years. I don't know. It was 2 or 3 years during the Civil War that this was the practice. But I believe it's the 13th Amendment that says the abolishment of slavery and involuntary servitude unless duly convicted of a crime. Well, what crime were these what crime were these immigrants being convicted of that they were forced to involuntary servitude for the military? In the time of the Revolutionary War, our politicians were in the war fighting. I don't know. I never get. I don't mind honoring people, but I believe it causes separation. I believe it causes animosity. And I believe it's a 100% political deal. That's why they keep doing it. I believe 100% that it's purely political. It keeps separation. It raises tensions. It does. It thoroughly raises tensions on
Oh yeah!
bell stealing Viking. And look at who they put at the table when they're talking about this. Everybody know who that is? The person who screams that America's racist and everybody's switch to your computer. Yeah, Twitch is having some lagging issues today. I'm sorry about that. But you're going to let me play it now?
Thanks for joining us for Fox 9 News at 5. I'm Randy Meyer.
And I'm Kelsey Carlson. Dozens of people packed into a downtown Minneapolis restaurant today, participating in the Twin Cities' first Black Business Week.
To kick it all off, Representative Ilhan Omar held a panel to discuss racial equality in the world of tech. Fox 9's Alex Leonard has the story.
The goal this afternoon was to hear from leaders in the industry so that people in the community can learn from the experts as they work to solve economic inclusion and also the current underrepresentation in the tech industry. 4 speakers, 4 backgrounds, 4 job titles, one common objective.
I look forward to the day when these racial disparities don't exist.
Sunday morning's panel kicking off the city's first ever Black Business Week to celebrate the nearly 1,000 Black-owned businesses and ensure they and others that open have the resources they need. The panelists telling a room full of eager ears that progress is made when enough people work for it.
They said the resources that they need. What resources? I didn't get any special resources when I started. None of the business I started did I get any special resources. Any business owners in here get special resources from the government? I'm just wondering, did anybody here get resources from the government when they started their business? I know there's some business owners here, so I'm just wondering if any of them had gotten special resources, because I've never gotten special resources.
Conversations aren't really leading to change, then sometimes it's about talking louder, sometimes it's about getting more people there to talk with you.
Saying that long-term change has to start at a young age and that through community involvement, they can band together and promote change within the Twin Cities.
We constantly have to show up, make our voices heard, and get as loud as we can, because we can no longer live under a system that doesn't fully recognize our dignity and humanity.
Irony of
doesn't fully recognize our dignity and humanity. Somebody explain that to me. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Somebody with dignity and humanity. You went from being a refugee to a congresswoman. Got away with marrying your brother and falsifying college applications, misusing campaign funds, and yet you're still there. You've done nothing but spread hateful rhetoric across this entire country. Spread hateful rhetoric across. You have a 9% approval rating. Why? Why do they continue to post her up to be the poster child for Black Americans? You have Black Americans speaking out against her. You have Black Minnesotans speaking out against her.
The afternoon not lost on the panel as microphone issues persisted through their discussion.
I just want to say like how it is hilarious that we're having a tech panel while we're having tech difficulties.
Just as the microphone issue was resolved, the panelists and all others in their industry hope the issue of racial underrepresentation is solved.
Again, racial underrepresentation. What does that mean? Somebody explain to me what racial underrepresentation for is. Because as far as I know, to be represented in tech culture, you pay for it. Businesses pay for it to be represented. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know if Tech is in here or not, but I mean, he could explain it. I mean, as far as tech representation, as far as I know, you pay for it. You get what you pay for. What, you expect the government to pay for it? You expect taxpayers to pay for your representation? Well, during this conference, Tech, they talked about tech representation, for blacks. And as far as I know, as far as tech representation, from what I've learned from you, and I could be off basis, maybe I misunderstood it, but as far as getting represented in the tech world, you pay for it. You either build your skills up to be noticed, or you pay for it. It isn't just handed to you. I mean, was anything in your business handed to you? I mean, you're a tech guy. You work in the internet. Was anything handed to you? Were you given special provisions to do what you do? Because I remember a guy sitting in his chair having to work his ass off after doing, a 15, 16, 18-hour day. Here, I'll replay it, Tech. Hold on here.
For today, but also for the future. Also announced at the panel.
Hilarious that we're having a tech panel while we're having tech difficulties.
Just as the microphone issue was resolved, the panelists and all others in their industry hope the issue of racial underrepresentation is solved. For today, but also for the future. Also announced at the panel this afternoon, Representative Omar saying that her office will be participating in change within the Twin Cities.
We constantly have to show up, make our voices heard, and get as loud as we can, because we can no longer
to me, this sounds like a platform of hand me more shit.
Live under a system that doesn't fully recognize our dignity and humanity.
Irony of the afternoon not lost on the panel as microphone issues persisted through their discussion.
I just want to say like how it is hilarious that we're having a tech panel while we're having tech difficulties.
Just as the microphone issue was resolved, the panelists and all others in their industry hope the issue of racial underrepresentation is solved.
Racial underrepresentation. As far as I know, to be represented in any business, you pay for it. Whether by an attorney, whether by advertising. But it sounds like they want another handout program, and I don't think that should be the case.
But also for the future. Also announced at the panel this afternoon, Representative Omar saying that her office will be participating in the Congressional App Challenge. It's a national challenge aiming to encourage young kids to learn how to code. Black Business Week continues in Minneapolis through the 27th with events going all week. Reporting in Minneapolis, Alex Lehnert, Fox 9.
I mean, I don't understand. You have the ability to represent yourself. I mean, that's what I was asking, Tech. Did you get any? Did you get any type of extra representation? Did you get any type of special programs or anything? Because as far as I know, you're pretty well self taught, aren't you? I mean, you're self taught in all the stuff that you do, and I don't know, I don't get it. I don't understand, what they're expecting to be represented in technology as far as that goes. Exactly. I don't understand I don't understand what it is that they think they should be getting, and this is more your expertise in this, but I have a pretty good idea as far as a business sense goes because this is part of Black Business Week, and they're saying they're being underrepresented in the tech industry. But I know, like you had to make a name for yourself, and you made yourself the top of the game. You made yourself top of the top dog in what you do. Based on merits of the application. Exactly. Or, even as a business owner, you're not going to give a white guy more representation because he's white over a black guy or vice versa. It's based on what they're willing to pay for your services. Correct? I mean, if it's like this, I don't care. Right. I don't care what color you are. Money is green. That's the color I see when it comes to business. Green. That's any business owner. Nobody gets into business to lose money. Yes, there are some moral complexes in some of the stuff that you're doing. There's some moral standards and stuff in all businesses and what you do. There's just some businesses you will not do business with. There's some businesses that I will not do business with based on on moral aptitude. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, when it comes to technology, okay, the problem is what people don't understand in black business. You look at the stats. You look at the stats. You want to talk about how many black kids are graduating high school. How many black kids are actually going to college for technology type stuff. That's the question that should be asked. It's promoting better education. It's promoting these communities to encourage their kids instead of falling into street life and things like that. And being subjected to your environment. And that's any kid. That doesn't matter what race you are or where you grew up. And that's what it is. I think the fact that I see Ilhan Omar up there is just giving me no respect for Black Business Week, period. Simply because she's the most un-American politician I've ever seen, along with the rest of her squad. Okay. They teach coding in my niece's school, I guess. I don't even know what the hell's what coding is. What is coding? Maybe I should look that up. What is coding? Because apparently now it's Basic computer language used to develop apps, websites, and software. Oh, yeah, I don't have to learn all that. I got tech for that shit. Yeah, I don't need to learn that. Yeah, you can't even use the hashtag learn to code anymore on Twitter. It's considered a racist term. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I as far as coding, that kind of stuff goes, I mean, learn Java and make millions easy. But I got you, Tech. What do I need to learn this stuff for? Trajectory rate. It started out with there was a bunch of coal miners back during the Obama administration who were losing their jobs, and somebody told them to learn to code, and it became a hashtag. And basically, whenever somebody lost their job, it became a thing. Well, then somebody started screaming, "Oh, that's racist!" And now what? And Twitter started blocking people's accounts and stuff for using the hashtag learn to code. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things. Um, Also, it it's going to be just like graphic design. They told everybody to get in. I remember when I was in high school, they were telling everybody, "Oh, get into graphic design. It's the future. It's the future. Get into graphic design." So they had this mass influx of people getting into graphic design. And guess what? Guess what? Most of the people that I went to school with who went to school for graphic design couldn't get a job doing it. Could not get a job doing it. Uh, Shifts in energy use. They led many coal mines being used and coal miners being laid off. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and the Future of Energy Summit said, "You're not going to teach a coal miner to code." That's what it was. Thank you very much, Tech. I don't have my 2019 badge. Ah! I don't know. Here's the thing. You guys just annoying me. Sorry. $600. That'll get him. Just annoying me. Trucker Chad, good morning. Good to see you. Oh. I'm bad. I'm just timing him out.
Oh, yeah!
I don't know. The whole issue is this. My issue becomes this is when it comes to when we continue to say that we don't want to be judged by the color of our skin, that we want equality. there is never going to be full equality in the United States. You're always going to have class divide by financial status, social status. You're always going to have these divides. They're always going to be there. You're going to have some type of divide. But continually, we're beating this dead horse called a racial divide. Oh, black people aren't represented as well. Really? There's almost twice as many white people killed by officers as there are black people, but who got the recognition for people being killed by police officers? You have a football player who is signed to the National Football League, who accepts a job for millions of dollars a year, who starts this movement of kneeling during the national anthem. And when veterans and servicemen and women and people all over the country are offended, it's okay. It's their right. When people are offended by people burning the flag, it's okay. It's their right. You put white on anything, and it's called racist. And I don't understand that. I don't understand that. This term racism means absolutely jack shit to me nowadays. Somebody says to me, "You're racist," and I'm like, okay. Anything else? It doesn't have the punch anymore. It doesn't have the punch anymore. It doesn't mean what it is because it's thrown out there constantly. I mean, it just doesn't have the meaning. When you sit here and say, you can't use that, that's ours, or you need a pass to use certain words, I don't need a pass to do shit. I'm an American, motherfucker. There's the OG. Fox, what's happening? Good to see you, brother. Make sure you guys check out Fox Outdoors whenever you get a chance. So, but here's my thing, and I'm going to say this, and I understand. Slavery, as it was, worldwide was something that had been practiced for centuries. The fact that people believe that slavery is gone simply because African Americans or Africans aren't targeted anymore is an absolute bullshit. Slavery is very well alive and prevalent in the world today. You have it often now in the form of sex trafficking. You know, Ice Cube, what is happening? And that one catches you a ban, you dumb shit. Yeah, we were talking about that, Wolfram. We were talking about how the Irish, when they came off the boats here, involuntary servitude is considered a form of slavery. Involuntary servitude is considered a form of slavery when they were handed off the boats here in America. They said either you're going to fight or you're getting back on that boat. We're not sending you back with any supplies. You and your families. Forced into involuntary servitude. Let's talk about the fact that the English have had them enslaved for how many decades were they enslaved? And the thing is where I stand on this, and people are like, oh, well, you don't understand, you're not black, you don't understand. Well, whatever. Irish Brigade, 1861 Civil War, yeah. And guess who was oftentimes put on the front line first? But then again, I ask you this. If it was all about ending slavery down south, in the South, if it was all about ending slavery, how many slaves did they bring back up north to give them a better life? Because you see, right after the Civil War in your history books, you learn about sharecropping. You learn about sharecropping right afterwards. Those slaves were left down south with the plantation owners to rebuild. They depleted the South of all their financial resources.
So Senator Warren took part in a candidate forum in New Hampshire last week that quickly took a turn after a long exchange. Bit of an awkward.
So, again, I hear I hear this stuff, and I mean, I've been hearing it, when I was a Democrat, and I was a very, very hardcore Democrat. Because I believed that they were the representation of the blue collar people. I believed that Democrats were, but I learned that I had more. And I've talked to a lot of people like this. It's like you develop this ideology of how come everybody else gets stuff and I don't. You develop this, what can I get for free from the government? You develop a lot of stuff. DFL for life. But, and that's why I kind of, and I started looking at the Republican side, and that's when I took the side of, I don't agree with either side. There's some things on both sides that I agree with, but there's a lot of things on both sides that I don't agree with. And I had to look at what it is that I actually agree with. And one thing I agree with is the Constitution as it is written and not as it is interpreted. And that's what it is. I don't agree with either side. When you have both sides as a whole, who come in here and they're taking, I mean, on average, the percentage has dropped drastically since Donald Trump has been in, but the average percentage for the longest time was 50 to 53%, and had been that way for decades through multiple presidencies. I think right now the average is like 47, 48% is what it's at right now. But then you turn around and you look at the states, because Donald Trump is dropping taxes. States are like, oh, look, there's extra money. Let's take it from them. Minnesota is ever evident of it. We have a surplus budget and they want to raise taxes. They want to build more light rail system, a system that so far as I know, has lost between $10 and $12 million so far this year. It's a system that is losing money because they have no way to regulate it. You can get on that son of a bitch for free if you get on in the right spots. I believe in term limitations for Congress people. How many Congress people have gone up on Capitol Hill and gotten rich? How many people on Capitol Hill have gone up there and gotten rich? I mean, that's a question you got to ask. But because we keep feeding into this shit of division, because we keep fitting, we keep falling in line with, oh my God, this is racist, and we got to look at this, and we got to look at the moral aptitude of this, and they play on you. Hurry up, send these people more money, so that way we can. And Donald Trump's just guilty of it. I'll say that, for humanitarian aid. Well, what about the people in our country? What about the senior citizens who can't get all the care that they're supposed to have? What about the veterans who can't receive all the care that they're supposed to have? They're supposed to be there representing the people. And when you sit here and you tell me and you show me statistics that a 7% flat tax across the board for everybody would do more in running this country instead of breaking the backs of everyday working people. I mean, a 7% flat tax across the board. And we would have more than enough money to support this country and its budgets. On a 7% flat tax. That means there's no tax write-offs, there's no income tax refunds, no nothing. A 7% flat tax and everything else is yours. You want to talk about an economic boom? You want to talk about more entrepreneurs? You want to talk about better education systems? There's a few other things I believe. I believe the government should get out of marriages. I believe the government should get out of schools. I believe when schools are run by their local people, when their curriculums are chosen by their local people, the tax-paying bracket, I believe schools have a higher standard. You're right, Wolfram. Welcome to the land of 10,000% income tax. Why is it if I go through the painstaking deal of paying off property, it takes me 30, 20, 30, 15 years, whatever, to pay off property. If I go through all that, and because I don't give the government money, they can come take it. How is that right? How is that correct? For over 100 years, people have been paying taxes on this chunk of dirt. What right does the government have that? Why do I only get a certificate of a title for a car when I buy it? Why don't I actually get a title that says it is mine, that the government cannot take it? Why is that? Why is it that a governing institution has the right to tell me what to do on my chunk of dirt? Why? Why is it that on my chunk of dirt they tell me I have to be hooked up to city water and sewer when I'd rather have a well? I'd rather have a well and an outhouse. But then again, you ask them this, and nobody gives you any answers. They look at you like you're stupid. And you're telling me I have to pay the government in order to have my house. And I think that's wrong. Every year I have to go in and pay an exorbitant amount of taxes to register my vehicle. I understand driving is a privilege. But now the cities come in and they force you to have these vehicles registered, which in turn they force you now with the law. You have to have insurance on said vehicles in order to register them, even if they're not moving out of your yard. But I have to pay for that. You tell me I have to wear a seatbelt because it's the law. But how does me wearing a seatbelt affect the safety of anybody else on the road? Again, no answer, just the law. I currently have a case in Turtle Lake, Wisconsin, where the judge and the officers in that town tell me that my vehicle has to be Wisconsin compliant for only passing through, even though my vehicle is registered and I am a resident of Minnesota. But then when you give them a common sense argument, well, does that mean that my vehicle has to be California emissions compliant when I go visit my family in California? And they tell you it's not the same. It's exactly the exact same concept. But I'm supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But when I put out a common sense argument, again, I'm wrong. When police departments go from protecting and serving to we need revenue, they're no longer doing their job. Chris, you're absolutely right in that. You know, and that's the thing. You can give a common sense argument, but until people stand together, people are not going to stand together because the government continually creates divides. I had a Haitian man in my house and seeing my Donald Trump sign up here. I said, when you watch mainstream media in the news, I said, it tells you that you're not supposed to like me because I have that hanging up in my house. And I'm not supposed to like you because you don't support him. The news has got you believing that you would walk up on my doorstep and I would tell you to get the fuck off my doorstep. But yet I invite you into my house, offer you food and drink. The government would make you believe that too. And I said that's not the case. So, and forced to wear a seatbelt, being told I have to do anything doesn't feel like freedom to me, and you're absolutely right. How's it not compliant in Wisconsin? Because they said I have inadequate mufflers. Here you go. Why is they can't have tinted windows on your windows of your car, but the cops are all blacked out? Very good question. They get special privileges, just like why is it an officer can be messing around on his computer or talking on his phone to his head while driving a squad car. Hubby turns 70 soon, is being forced to withdraw money from investment so we can pay 40% tax. Yeah. They're trained to do that. Yeah. No, actually, they're not. You ask any real officer, and he'll tell you there's no special training for that. They're not supposed to do that. They are supposed to pull over to take phone calls. They are supposed to pull over to mess around on their laptops. That is exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to pull off into a safe area. They're not supposed to impede traffic, things like that. I have many friends in law enforcement, very good officers, by the way. I don't want to say that. Yeah, actually, if you ever get them on video saying that, they could actually get in trouble for that. They are not trained to do that.
If you want my name, I'll give you everything. Who are you?
I don't need to provide that.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
If I'm asking you who you are and why you're videotaping our facility, you have to provide me with some kind of identification. So do you have any identification?
To require identification under the law, you need to be able to articulate a crime that I'm about to commit or I have committed.
Okay. You're going around, you're videotaping our state police facility for no apparent reason, and if I'm asking you who you are, you have to provide me with identification.
I don't have to, no.
It's just
No,
like anything else.
No, it's not.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
In fact, your public information officer already has dealt with this here, and so has a few other officers, so...
I don't care who's dealt with it. I'm asking you for identification because I want to know who you are right now.
Well,
and I want to know what your reason is for videotaping our facility.
Well, first of all, Supreme Court has covered that filming out in public is perfectly legal.
I don't care what the
And that is
Supreme
not a
Court-
suspicion of crime. So therefore, you have no suspicion of crime.
Listen, you can cite whatever you want.
Right.
Why are you videotaping? That's what I'm asking right now.
I don't have to answer that.
Well, I want to see a form of identification, identifying who you are, why you're outside my facility right now videotaping us.
I don't have to provide that either.
Why not? Why do you feel that you do not have to perform any form of
Because that's the law.
No, it's not. If
Yes,
you're
it
out
is.
here and I want to know why you're videotaping our facility and you have to provide me some form of identification, you just can't come and walk away anytime you want and just come up with your things and fly them over our lot. I want to know who you are and why you're videotaping this right now.
You probably want to get a supervisor or somebody higher up.
Sure, here's my sergeant. He's coming out right now.
And he'll tell you.
Okay, no problem. Hey, Len. He was flying the drone out in front, videotaping. All I'm doing is asking for a form of identification so we can identify who he is. He's refusing.
Go to your first sergeant, not a problem. Not a problem.
He can videotape as much as he wants. We don't have to get any form of identification.
He can videotape, not a problem.
All right.
So you were wrong?
Huh?
You were wrong?
According to my sergeant, yes, I was.
So you learned something today. That's good.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure. Have a good day.
Now look at this. I want to point something out here. He impeded traffic. 2 officers impeded traffic to violate the law. To violate something, and this happens all the time. There's lots of good officers who make mistakes. There's been times that I've been pulled over for stuff, and I told the officers, no, it is not illegal. And they go and check, and they said, wow. I even had an officer tell me. I had an officer tell me that he learned something from me and was misinformed by a district attorney. Shook my hand and apologized to me for everything that I had to go through because he was misinformed by a district attorney. And when we got to court, you see the district attorney was just making shit up. Yeah. He said, because of you, even if they're wrong, he said, even if they're wrong, okay, even if they're wrong, I'm not going to go through and make it a point to pull them over, unless I see them blatantly showing signs of causing a problem. Just like as firefighters, we and they have to follow all laws as well. Absolutely. Officers and emergency response are they're supposed to be the examples. Just like an ambulance. Most people don't know that an ambulance is not allowed to speed. Ambulances aren't allowed to speed unless guided by an officer of the law. And like I said, there are some officers, I mean, there's especially young ones, that get out there and they're extremely zealous and they think that they know and they don't know. And as you've seen, a sergeant came out and corrected him. No, he's completely legal in what he's doing. Leave him alone. He's completely legal in what he's doing. Leave him alone. The second officer had no idea what was going on. Okay. The second officer, you can't really criticize him. He had no idea what was going on. He was simply backing up the first officer. That's standard procedure. That happens. Okay, the second officer that pulled up had no idea what was going on. You can see that clearly in the video. So, the first officer just didn't know. And the thing is you have to, you have to be. This is what I've said this 100 times. How is it you expect me to know all the laws when all your officers don't know all the laws? And that gets to be an issue. And he may be a very good officer. Let's not forget that officers are human beings too, and they make mistakes. And all of us get standoffish on certain points. We get standoffish. Well, this guy happened to know the laws just like me. I know the laws concerning what I do. Okay, I know the laws concerning what I do for a living. I know those laws. Okay, just like when I represent other people in certain cases and I become a mouthpiece for them, there's certain things that I can and can't say. There's some stuff that I can't even put out online because it's a pending investigation. And I would be interfering with an ongoing investigation. The Jamie Clausen case, I put information out, and this is how I learned. I put information out on the line that had not been released to the public. And I didn't know that. And I didn't do it intentionally. I was just simply trying to help them find this girl. And when the FBI called me and said, hey, can you take that down? They were extremely respectful of it. They're like, where did you get that information from? And I said, I heard it from a civilian in public, in a group conversation. They said, really? I said, yes. And they just asked me to take the video down. And I said, I could absolutely do that. I said, anything that would help locate and find this girl, I would do that. I'm not one of these assholes who's got to have some kind of exclusive information or something on the videos. So, and that's the thing. That's the whole thing. There is a lot of officers out there that are just on a power trip. There really is. But for the small percentage of those that are out there compared to the percentage of actually really good officers out there, on a daily basis, I encounter really, really good officers and officers that I've grown to admire and respect. I've had numerous officers who have pulled me over for speeding, and they're just like, hey, just slow it down. All right? Just slow it down. Just like the officer in Wisconsin. I believe he was probably a good officer, but I think he was just fishing for revenue. And that's why I'm going to fight him tooth and nail. I could understand if I was ramrodding through your town, anything like that, but I wasn't speeding. I wasn't ramrodding. It's simply a revenue trip at that point in time. And that's the part that irks me about it. Even explaining as to why I do what I do or why my exhaust is the way that it is, that it wasn't a showpiece, that I didn't do it to be, whatever. I did it simply for deer repellent. And, it didn't. He's like, well, it's not legal here in Wisconsin. Doesn't matter. I'm not a Wisconsin resident. He said, and this is my favorite part. After explaining to him that I would have to drive 4 hours to court, he said, not my problem. Take it up in court. That's the stuff that pisses me off. because that's how they force out-of-town people to pay tickets. Well, they've got the wrong one, because I will fight this ticket. And I know it's a little village deal. I've already spoken to the judge, and he's already presumed me guilty on a phone conversation. So with that being done, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go the next step higher. And once I do that, then unfortunately that little village, not that they're hurting for money, they have a casino there. That little village is going to be paying me for my time and my lost wages and all the stuff that I have to go through to make this happen. So, and it's unfortunate that I have to come down to that and that I have to do that kind of stuff, but that's just the way it works. You know, I'm supposed to be innocent and you're supposed to prove me guilty. But a judge or a district attorney should look, well, this guy is a Minnesota resident and the vehicle is registered in Minnesota, so he doesn't have to comply with this. So, but with that being said, y'all, I have to get off of here. I have to get ready. I have to go to work. All that kind of stuff. I appreciate y'all tuning in this morning. And again, as you guys know, I am a huge supporter of law enforcement, our military, our firefighters, our EMTs, our tow truck drivers, all the people who got to go out there and put their lives in danger for us every single day. I am a huge supporter of those guys. Nothing but mad love and respect here. Our veterans, our military personnel. I got law enforcement officials who watch. You know, I've even had law enforcement officials when I had to fight my case in Chisago County. They were just like, "This is insane. That's not right." You know, so with that being said, I want you all to know that I greatly appreciate you, and please don't look at all. You know, there's a lot more good law enforcement out there than there is bad ones. There really is. There truthfully, honestly is, and take it from a guy who's been on both sides of the law. You know. Give law enforcement the respect and the gratitude they deserve. They're simply out there, the mass majority of them, 99% of them are out there simply to enforce the laws. So, but that being said, y'all keep cold, keep the bottoms up, and Redneck will hopefully be able to holler at y'all tonight.
Yeah, I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. She put my TV in a sack. My Xbox was attached. She tried to go sell it for a little bit of crack. She's high as a horse, smoking crack, of course. She got it in the back alley with other crack whores. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. She lives in a trailer for crack, she does sex favors. She's got a lot of babies, her life's a disaster. She got a flat booty and she got no boobies, but she'll sell her coochie, that thing it smells like sushi. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. I got a crackhead caught a crackhead. Yeah, I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. She put my TV in a sack. My Xbox was attached. She tried to go sell it for a little bit of crack. She's high as a horse, smoking crack, of course. She got it in the back alley with other crack whores. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. She lives in a trailer for crack, she does sex favors. She's got a lot of babies, her life's a disaster. She got a flat booty and she got no boobies, but she'll sell her coochie, that thing it smells like sushi. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. She says she ain't on nothing, but she tweaking on something. I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. I caught a crackhead stealing my stereo last night on my patio. I got a crackhead called the crackhead.